And here's this girl covered in bugs, standing there silently in her scary mask, watching your every move. You're probably terrified that if you mess something up, she's going to hurt you. Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Buzz 7.10, 7.10.
Buzz 710, here we go. What'd you think?
Kind of a weird chapter, like not where I expected it to go at all. A little bit of an anticlimax, but in a way that really made me want to keep reading and be like, wait, what? Like, it feels like there are pieces we don't have. Maybe everything's the way it seems, but then what does that mean? Like, I was kind of thrown. I want to know more.
Yeah, we were winding up for a really big fight.
Yeah, we didn't get one. We got a little fight and then...
A little fight and then a quick resolution.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about in more detail, but why don't I tell people what the summary of this chapter is?
Why don't you? That sounds like a great idea.
So we left with a flashbang grenade in mid-air about to blind the Undersiders to Night so that she could assume her monstrous form of some kind of Lovecraftian horror and kill them all very quickly. And Taylor's like, well, as you predicted, if I shut my eyes, then that's going to be just the same as getting blinded, so I might as well not get blinded. She suffers the intense effects of the flashbang grenade, uses her bug sense to perceive a little bit of what Night's transformation is like, but really has a tough time getting a handle on her. Night does a lot of really upsetting damage to Judas in just the moments where they're recovering from the flashbang grenade. And, you know, when Taylor finally can look at Night, she just sees a woman standing there, because that's how it works. Between Skitter and Regent, they're able to kind of keep her from fully effectively deploying a smoke grenade in order to cover herself. And Taylor's like, okay, what have I learned? What do I do in the situation? I guess maybe it's dumb, but I'm going to go on the offensive. And she draws her baton and runs up and basically tries to keep Night in her sights while she attacks her. And, you know, in some respects, this is effective. Night doesn't seem to be particularly well armored, is vulnerable to this kind of attack, but Taylor doesn't play it perfectly well. There's a moment when Taylor's running away when she gets hit, and it's clear that she got hit by Night in her monster form, and it knocks her onto the ground and makes her roll, and it seems like it's a super powerful blow, and Taylor runs in again to fight her. But Night has another trick up her sleeve. She unleashes her cloak, which is covered in tiny little hooks that wraps all the way around Taylor. And of course, once Night is hidden from Taylor's sight behind the cloak, she can become a monster and start to attack her. And Taylor's basically completely helpless. But thankfully, Tattletale gets eyes on Night in the middle of this assault, and Taylor's able to kind of disentangle herself. And Tattletale starts talking to Night, trying to work an angle, and is like, you're really boring, you have the same routine, but, you know, there's some kind of connection to, you're close to Purity. And as she's working that angle, Night appears to ignore her, draws a knife, and tries to cut Skitter's throat. And Tattletale reacts to this by stopping talking, drawing her gun, and shooting Night in the back several times, which is effective until Purity shows up. When she shows up, she just flies down from the sky, lands in the middle of the street, and blinds everybody with her power. Like Fog, also great synergy with Night. We learned that, unfortunately, Night can fully heal whenever she transforms and untransforms. So, with Purity's arrival, Night is back on her feet, completely undamaged. And it's only thanks to quick thinking from Regent that Purity does not blast most of the Undersiders with a laser as soon as she shows up. This does give Tattletale a moment to call out to Purity and say, hey, here is where Aster is. This is the street. I know it's the Protectorate's secret hideout for when people, need to go into protection, and we didn't leak your info. We think that was fucked up. That's why we're here to help you get Aster back. Here are Kaiser's motives, right? Like, he's shifty, don't trust him. She even says, who are you going to trust, me or Kaiser? And Taylor's a little bit skeptical, but then Tattletale goes, look, Caden, you see yourself as a good person, a trustworthy person, and we have something in common. Like, I'm coming to you as also somebody who wants to be seen as a trustworthy person when it counts. So she appeals to this sort of like common reasonableness in them. Taylor's like, I don't know if I buy that, but it doesn't matter if I buy it, because Purity says, okay, I will go to this location to get Aster back, but you, Tattletale, are coming with me. Everyone else walks. And Tattletale, is able to bargain for basically like, we can go our separate ways. As soon as Purity and Tattletale are gone, the others, Night and Fog and Crusader, has shown up at this point and was ready to basically stab Taylor. They make it clear that they could finish off the Undersiders still, but they choose not to because Purity and Tattletale struck a deal. And Gru is badly, badly hurt, as is Angelica, because of the effect of Fog's fog. So Taylor calls Coil, gets an ambulance, and basically takes Gru to the same doctor that took care of them after the Bakata fight, and texts Tattletale on the way, filling her in, saying everything is okay. Taylor has a lot of sort of intense worry about like, okay, are we going to get off the battlefield okay? What's going to happen? But there are no other shoes to drop during this time. She talks to the doctor a little bit, and then she gets a message back from Tattletale that also things are good. Quote, she got what she needed on my way. And that's the end of the chapter.
Where are the shoes, Ted? Where are the shoes?
Yeah.
I don't know how to deal with this. What's going on? Is this just straightforwardly what it seems like? Where Lisa's like, no, what Coil did was messed up and I don't agree with it. So I'm just going to arrange for this particular consequence of it to be undone. Because, it's not like Coil's plan was, and then we'll take Aster. Like, presumably Coil has bigger reasons for wanting Empire 88 to be unmasked. And this whole Aster thing is like, I assume at least Lisa thinks it's like sort of a side quest, like unintentional consequence type thing. And Lisa's like, yeah, that shouldn't have happened. I'm just going to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, is that all it is? Or is there something else going on here? Like, Lisa has so much more information than we do, and we didn't get to hear about the plan, so we don't really know. And, like, Taylor doesn't really react or think about it.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that too, right? I will observe that what Tattletale said is we need to go directly to Purity. And Taylor does have a reaction in this chapter that's kind of like, this is the best you have, Lisa? Sort of like a little bit like, you're really just saying pick between Tattletale.
Right. I feel like it was more about the tactics of the conversation.
Right. But so Taylor, I feel like Taylor didn't get fully briefed into like, Lisa's like, well, I guess what I'm imagining is like, Lisa probably said, give me a minute with Purity and I can end this. But I don't think she walked them through beat for beat what she would say. Yeah. Likely Lisa didn't know.
Of course not. No, because Lisa's always reacting. Yeah.
Right.
She might have said, I'll just tell her where to find Aster and we can end this. And there might have been discussion. Everyone might have agreed. Right. I don't know how Taylor thinks about it.
So I feel like something like that must have happened. The other thing I'll note is that Tattletale doesn't give up Coil in any way.
That's true.
They're playing kind of like, we got blindsided by this and we want to make it right.
Yeah.
They do get to use what Coil said about he told Kaiser and then they don't necessarily have to use what Coil said about it, but the fact that they know Coil told Kaiser and that Kaiser hasn't acted has given Tattletale a lot to work with in this moment. And that really does feel like the piece of intel that she leans on to kind of seal the deal here.
Right. And she presumably is able to tell things about the relationship between Purity and Kaiser. And I love how informed we are about this. Like, there's so many things going on that I'm like, what's going on? Like, which is fine. It's an intriguing mystery and stuff, but it's really nice, this thing where it's like, oh, we actually had a whole chapter of how Purity feels about Kaiser.
Right.
So when Taylor's like, why would Lisa say, like, trust me or trust Kaiser? Obviously, wouldn't Purity trust Kaiser rather than this rando?
Yeah,
We know that, like, Purity doesn't trust Kaiser.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Lisa is playing right into Purity's view of Kaiser as this manipulative, destroyer of people who doesn't care about his child.
And you were asking for, like, wouldn't it be interesting? There's so many capes in Empire 88. Like, this is a great way for Tattletale to further that controlled chaos of, like, oh yeah, we're just trying to de-escalate things, but also your number 1 and number 2 might not be getting along, and I'm going to make that worse.
Ooh, that's a great point. I wonder, because this feels a little bit undermining of Coil on the surface of it, where Tattletale, I mean, she's literally saying, like, we didn't want this to happen. We don't agree with this. That's why I'm giving you your child, or I'm telling you how to find your child. Which feels like she's like, yeah, what Coil did was wrong and we're taking a different path. But it could be this is part of sort of the tangled web of, I mean, Coil could even have asked her to do this. I mean, or she could have told him and he could have been like, yeah, that's fine. We don't know. They did have that phone call or texting exchange or something before they left for this. But yeah, if it's no seed more distrust within Empire 88, it's fine for Purity to have her child back. We don't want her to destroy the town right now. It's, you know, we can end this. But the larger plan of, like, destabilizing Empire 88, like, this could be perfectly in line with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very curious about how much Coil knows and how much Coil approves of this plan.
Right.
And how much Coil had input into this plan.
Right. Yeah, the consequence, I mean, we can get into it, but, like, if not for Tattletale, the Undersiders lose and presumably all die. Right. Or, like, get taken captive if they don't get killed right away.
Right.
It is certainly exciting to see Taylor versus Knight in this chapter. But, like, that 1-2 punch of, like, Purity shows up, so Knight is now fully healed. It's like as if none of this has mattered so far.
Yep, reset.
And then Taylor being like, okay, in case things with Purity don't go good, oh, Crusader's right behind me, and he's got a spear. And so, actually, there really
We're totally surrounded.
There wasn't a way out, right?
Yeah.
Like, even if they had been able to beat Knight and Fog, it's like, they were outclassed in this fight with the resources that they were bringing to bear.
I kind of assume that Tattletale went into this saying, like, okay, we just have to get one of Purity's close allies on the ropes. Like, we have to get them in a really precarious position, and then Purity will come down and we'll be able to talk to her.
Yeah. No, that's actually true. Yeah. Taylor isn't thinking, like, we have to... Taylor feels like she's more in survival mode than thinking, like, I have to put pressure on Knight. But
it's also something she might just
strategy.
not be saying.
Yeah.
Like, Taylor might know that's the goal and just not be telling us, because she doesn't always tell us everything in narration.
Yeah, but to connect that, though, that sort of, like, the Undersiders were so in danger here, it certainly feels like... I think maybe we talked about this, but, like, why would Coil care more about whatever's going on with Aster than, like, losing his whole investment in the Undersiders, right? Like, I feel like unless that part of it is a total smoke and mirrors, I really feel like the fact that the Undersiders almost all get killed here is, like, probably not
the
what Coil
Undersiders, like,
wanted.
always almost all get killed. And I don't think that Coil wants them as... I think Coil's attitude towards them as a team is, I need to be able to trust them to get out of tough situations. I'm not going to handhold them through everything. Like, he's not going to, like, I don't know, I shouldn't send the Undersiders into this situation because they might get killed. Like, he needs a team that he can be like, they'll figure it out. And if they ever don't figure it out, that's fine. He has other things in the wings.
Well, maybe this is Tattletale figuring it out.
Well, I think it was. I think, now that I'm thinking about it, right before she shot Knight, she said, like, damn you. Because she was like, pay attention. I'm trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
I think she was trying to get Knight to get them in with Purity. She was going to try to convince Knight of what she eventually convinces Purity of, which is, no, I can just help you find your kid. It'll be fine. But Knight's not paying attention. Knight is trying to kill Taylor. So she's like, ugh, fine, and shoots her. And that's what gets Purity's attention. So I think getting Purity's attention by almost killing one of her team members, friends, was sort of a plan B there. I think plan A was, we'll just find any of the people who are close to Purity and convince them to let us talk to her. And then we can tell her about Aster. I also do wonder if Coil looked at this situation and was like, oh crap, she's blowing up the docks. Well, I mean, she can have her kid back. That's fine. Like if Coil looked at the situation and said that, I feel like Tattletale is the perfect person to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like how else do you approach Purity and say like, I know where your kid is. Let me get her for you. Tattletale is someone who we learn in this chapter has worked with Purity, like they fought the ABB together. So Purity knows that Tattletale is someone who has information, has sources through her power.
Yeah.
And Tattletale is someone who can credibly say like, no, we weren't the ones who publicized that information. We actually don't agree with it, which is true. And your boss is just trying to mess with you because he thinks it'll be better if you take us out before he unleashes you on the real perpetrator.
Yeah.
That's all true. Also, Tattletale is actually the perfect vehicle for this message if Coil wanted to deliver it, which, why not? Maybe he did.
Yeah. There's something, too, in that we have Purity and Tattletale here both being like, we are reasonable people and we can, like, talk out our differences, contrasted with, like, Kaiser and Loong in Arc 5 both being like, we are obviously strong and everyone must, like, submit to us, no need to negotiate, and also kind of, like, full of hubris.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting... I mean, there's a gendered angle there as well, but personality-wise, the Undersiders seem very much in the mold of, like... It's almost like the Cops and Robbers thing, but coming at it from, like, a rational perspective. It's like, no, all we have in it is, like, this is our job, and we're, like, reasonable people, and, like, what they did... like, clearly what they did is fucked up, but, you can trust us. We're just normal villains, right? Like, we don't have any of this other baggage. We're just normal villains. And Purity's like, well, that's what I want to be.
Well, yeah, because Purity really is, like, she's so unhinged. She's like, oh, you stole my kid? I'll blow up the entire city. Like, she's like, oh, yeah, it's a reasonable choice to fall in with these white supremacists again. Because, I don't know, I wasn't getting anything done on my own. My vacation was almost over. No, but she, despite all of that, does also want to see herself as a good person.
Can I read the argument from Tattletale? Right, so she says, who are you going to trust when Aster is on the line? Me or Kaiser?
Great
and
point.
Then
totally solid.
Purity at that point is like, okay, I'm bringing you with me, but are you just sacrificing yourself to save your team? And Tattletale replies, because whatever else you might be, Caden, you somehow, in some warped perspective, see yourself as an upstanding person. And if I wasn't an honest person when it counted, I wouldn't trust you to hold to that. Make sense?
No.
And Taylor's like, no, it's totally circular.
I love that. I mean, it's so funny because I feel like her argument about Kaiser makes perfect sense, even though Taylor doesn't get it. But this piece, I'm like, how does Tattletale think that makes sense? Or does Tattletale just know it will work, even though it doesn't make sense? Because, like, I did not follow that paragraph. And Taylor's also like, that seems really circular. What even is she saying? But, like, Purity's totally convinced. And, like, somehow, like, Lisa knew that would make sense to her.
No, to me, I don't know if this is what it's called, but it's like a mirroring fallacy. What Tattletale is doing is saying, see me like you want other people to see you. Like, your truth is, oh, well, despite your villainous and hateful exterior, you're a good person or an upstanding, whatever that means, person at the end of the day. And so she's basically just making a bid. See me the way you see yourself. And for some reason it works. I'm not sure why it works, but I understand the gamble of like, oh, well, you see me as a total shithead who just blew up your life. But like, imagine if I had you read a sympathetic chapter from my perspective, and like, what about the inner world of Tattletale? And Purity's like, okay,
that does make sense to me. Like, I feel like, again, like, Hayden feels like, I think I've said this before, maybe not about her, like me when I'm playing Mafia, and I can tell that I have good intentions inside. So why can everyone else not tell?
Yes, exactly.
And Caden knows that she feels like a good person inside.
Right.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
Why can everyone else not see that? And Tattletale's really tapping into that. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Also, now I have I'm a good person from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend stuck in my head.
Yes, exactly. The other thing that, I mean, we don't get any of the details right, but I feel like the situation that Tattletale gets into when Purity abducts her and they fly off together, that must have been such a feast of Tattletale just like nattering away.
Because Purity's so dumb.
Just chatting, like making little observations, being like, oh my god, Kaiser this, oh my god, Kaiser that. It's like, oh, Esther's so cute, and also like,
I bet that was also part of the plan, right?
Right.
She's like, I can get so much information on Empire 88 if I have a conversation with Purity.
In theory, Tattletale is like 10 times stronger after being abducted at the end here. Like, it seems like, oh no, she's being taken away. We don't have our Tattletale. But like, this is absolutely like good for her.
The funny thing is,
in her element.
This is also Cops and Robbers too.
Say more.
Well, this is Tattletale sort of resetting the stakes back to like, no, your kid should never have gotten taken. Obviously, the right thing to do is for me to give her back.
Yeah.
And you're also playing by these rules, so you'll take me and we'll both be, like, you'll keep me safe. My team will get to walk. Yeah. I'll give you your kid back. It's
so there's an appeal to also sort of the rule following.
Yeah. And I wonder how that will play into Tattletale's predicted arc. I don't know that this will be a real arc of coming to see through the whole Cops and Robbers framework and like kind of losing that naivete.
Right.
Being disillusioned.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, this might just kind of slow it down. It's a long book, so.
And we get a little bit of a debrief with the other Undersiders. I mean, mostly just Skitter and Gru, but yeah, we don't get anything from Tattletale other than Avocado, Green.
Yeah, we don't even really get a debrief. Like, we just get like health stuff on Taylor and Brian. Like, we don't really get anyone's opinion on what happened or anyone else's perspective on the fight. Regent and Bitch, like, they're in a different ambulance that doesn't even follow Skitter and Gru to the doctors, so like we don't even get to hear from them.
Right.
Which I saw that and I was like, is there something like sus going on with that other ambulance? Like, should they have been following? But like, maybe they didn't need a human doctor, so
I mean, it is an interesting playing into this sort of sense of anticlimax in this chapter, right? The whole falling action bit, it is intense worrying about Gru, but like, it's not written in such a way that you're like, oh my god, is he actually gonna die before he gets helped? And then it's like very procedural, just like, oh well, we go to the doctor.
It felt like, very dry. Yeah,
it's very
we're a little
dry.
Distanced. Yeah.
And what it is it's Taylor calls Coil, texts Tattletale, and waits for the return text message. And so like something had to happen. But it does feel a little bit like, okay, we're just kind of
going through the motions here.
Going through the motions here.
Gets fixed, patched up. And Taylor's ear gets cleaned up.
That last sequence in the chapter is like much weaker than the earlier fighting stuff.
I do think so. Yeah, it's just kind of getting us to that message from Tattletale. Yeah, I am so curious. I guess I thought this arc was going to have to be much longer because they were going to have this huge battle, but it seems like now they're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this is not the last chapter in the arc.
No, I wouldn't expect it to be. But I feel like there might only be one chapter left.
Could be.
Unless things, explode from here or something.
Could be.
Or we have more follow-up than I expected. We're still only on the first day after Coil gave them their week deadline.
Yeah.
So the situation from this morning where Bitch was like, nope, I'm not in, so that means none of us are in. There's still 6 days to decide for this to shift. Who knows what's going to happen next with Empire 88, I guess.
Yeah.
I hope that there are more plans. Like, I hope this was kind of step 1 in Coil and Lisa's plan to mess up the Empire.
Yeah, I mean, Brian's really injured.
Right. He's, blood loss like that. I mean, presumably they can give him some blood, but like, he's going to need a few days.
Taylor she took a week, right? And she needed more than that after the Bakata thing.
Well, yeah, hopefully no one else is concussed. But yeah, I mean, that kind of, the kind of wound that results in that level of blood loss, like, he's not going to be up fighting tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a good question. Like, I feel like maybe we'll see a few days go by, and then maybe near the end of the week. Because I'm not sure what's going to change. I don't see anything in this situation that will change Bitch's mind. Like, yeah, her dogs lost their home, but she'll just find them another one. That's not enough to push her towards, like, oh, I need to side with Coil so I can have my fancy dog warehouses.
Yeah.
So I think probably we'll have a few days of recovery, and then maybe engage in more Empire 88 action. And I'm still not sure what will change Bitch's mind.
Yeah, Yeah. And we don't know what the situation on the ground with Empire 88 could be.
Right, because this is just one little piece of the aftermath. Is that, like, Purity freaks out over Aster and starts blowing up the docks. There is still the question of, like, how is everyone else reacting?
And Purity's not going back to her day job. So.
Yeah. Right, all of these people are suddenly out of their normal lives. Like, they can't go back to them safely, or they'll probably be apprehended.
Right. Reasonable to assume that this does keep Purity from, she's not going to go pick up Aster and then immediately go out and start destroying the city again. So,
No. But yeah, there are a lot of angry and homeless supervillains on the loose now who potentially still think the Undersiders are to blame, so they probably can't go back to their place, although it's unclear that anyone knows about their place.
Of Empire 88 is Purity's crew, so presumably they'll get the message.
And now we'll have the sort of infighting of like, well, Kaiser, why did you tell us it was them if you knew it wasn't?
Yeah. It really depends like how much work can Tattletale get done off screen.
I mean, I'm excited to hear about that.
Well, maybe we can circle back to what's coming next later.
Yeah.
Are there other things you wanted to talk about in this chapter? I mean, it really is a big close-up on Night.
Yes.
Taylor versus Night in the first part of the chapter.
Yes. She is so powerful.
Yeah.
But she comes with such a limitation.
Yeah.
Which is so effective. I love all of the many steps she has clearly taken to work around that limitation. So she works with Fog. It seems like they're just a married couple.
Yeah.
Tattletale's like, you guys are so boring. A nice antagonistic opening from Tattletale. Love it. It seems like, she works with Fog, who can obscure people's vision, so she can transform. She has all of these flashbangs and smoke grenades and, like, other devices, like, Taylor sees under her cloak. She just has all this stuff. She has the cloak with the hooks on it.
I love the cloak maneuver.
So effective.
Such a good technique. And the fact that it has the hooks, I felt like she was like a spider putting Taylor in a cocoon so that she could eat her up later. It was like really, really cool and scary.
And it seems that she has fought, or often has fought, with Purity, who, shines the light and blinds people, and then Night can do her thing.
Yeah.
It's really like Undercover of Light is a very funny way to think about it.
Yes, yeah. I want to read the description. Taylor does use her bugs on Night while she's transformed. My bugs were my only sense that still worked, but they couldn't get a grip on the surface of her body. She moved too fast, and her skin was smooth and oily, slick with some sort of lubricant. The result was that I couldn't really make her out in the darkness. I only got flashes, the vaguest sense of how she was put together. I was reminded of the ink blots I'd seen during my brief stay in the mental ward. Every fraction of a second, it was a different set of ink blots, a different shape, all edges and angles and sharp points, entirely up to interpretation. Mm-hmm. Then it goes on to describe Judas getting really beat up in a horrifying way. I was wondering, so the bug perception doesn't count for Night.
True.
But she does wound Judas's face severely. So I do wonder if dog perception is something that she had to intentionally disable.
Because dogs are, much more intelligent than bugs.
Yeah.
So their vision could be a deterrent.
And the thing is, you want when Taylor looks at her, for her to be transforming back, or you want Taylor to see and I saw the tentacles slither up.
No, she's just totally normal.
But yeah, of course, Taylor just looks at her, it's like, oh yeah, there was a woman there.
It's a weeping angel statue. It's fine.
I really love the way that is written. Right.
Yes.
You can't, even though I as a reader want to see the transformation, by definition, Taylor can't perceive it, so we can't hear about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So Fog also, we don't see in as much detail, but we learn a little bit more about. So we learn that Gru's darkness could potentially stop Fog. Fog could move through the darkness. Love that. Gru is unfortunately so weak, he's only producing wisps of darkness, which was very sad and worrying at the time. We also learned that Angelica, who spent time kind of inside Fog, we don't really know what happened to her, but she has shrunk down to normal dog size again. But unlike what happens to Brutus and Judas, who are totally fine once they've shrunk down, she is not okay.
Yeah.
And it seems like she inhaled some of Fog and it got into her lungs and maybe bloodstream, and we don't really know what that means.
It's toxic in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really worried about Angelica. I don't know that she's going to die, but I do think she probably won't be able to fight with them for for a while.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bitch is going to have to try to replace her in the team. She's the newest one and sort of the least obedient at this point.
And it's like another way in which the Undersiders would have lost. Like, they were probably moments away from most of the team suffering from whatever Angelica's suffering from.
Right, because Fog was like actively rolling down the alleyway and about to engulf them.
Yeah. I love when Taylor looks back and basically sees the rest of her team like rallying behind the dogs and Brian and stuff, and they're like keeping Fog at bay. And it just occurred to me like, oh yeah, Taylor really is like the front line, which is so funny because like her bugs are formidable, but the bugs are not doing the damage.
The bugs aren't doing
She's
anything.
just running in with her baton. Which
but
is like
everyone is so clutch in this. Like,
it's true.
Tattletale is the one who's like, this is going badly, I need to turn it around. And Regent is the one who keeps them all from being destroyed by Purity.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I mean, Bitch's dogs are obviously doing a lot, and Gru is the one whose absence, basically, is screwing them over.
That's true. It's not peak Undersiders performance.
No,
Gru would have helped a
not.
lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if Gru had been able to keep Fog at bay, they all could have dealt with Night.
Yeah.
And he could have stopped the flashbang. Like, there are so many ways in which Gru would have been clutch. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I do feel like what Taylor should have done with the flashbang was keep one of her eyes open. I guess with that bright a light, you wouldn't have been able to, like, continue to see Night anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess you could have split the difference.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, she'll keep one eye open. And then she didn't do that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I guess that wouldn't have worked. But
there were a lot of really good descriptions. Like, I really liked the writing in the first part of the chapter, all of the, like, physical intensity, the flashbang, Judas kind of falling on Taylor, the moment when Taylor looks away and gets attacked from behind, right? Like, the description of what happens to Judas's face, like, the thing that I read. There's a lot of really good sort of, you know, scary stuff and intense physical stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did feel like the chapter lost a little bit of steam at the end. I feel like that happens to me sometimes where you're like, you finish writing the exciting scene and then you're like, oh, just have to make some other stuff happen here. And you're like, this kind of, lost momentum.
Yeah.
It's not bad or anything. It's just like the opening of the chapter is, like, the first half is so good.
Yeah. And I mean, it does kind of play into, I mean, we've talked about how the procedural stuff is really good. And this does put you, I think, in Taylor's perspective, there's a whole sequence where Taylor's like, okay, but here are all the things that could go wrong. You know, like, we're getting into the ambulance and like, oh, this is so intense. And nothing actually does go wrong. So like Taylor is still feeling a lot of the stress from the situation and doesn't really get a chance to decompress. It's just like time passes and then you get the kind of all clear. So,
well, kind of what happens in the second half of the chapter, or the last chunk of the chapter, is that, like, there's nothing new going on. They've been to see this doctor before, so there's, you know, nothing, like, Gru's gotten patched up before, Taylor's gotten patched up before, they've dealt with traveling via Coil's ambulances before.
Yeah.
So Taylor is waiting for the news from Tattletale, and that's really tense. But like everything else, it's like, oh, there's nothing really to dig into here. This is just like, oh yeah, well, we have to do this because Gru has to be healed. But like, it's the kind of thing that I feel like Wildbow usually doesn't write.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't need to see it. But like, he kind of, like you said, I guess wanted to have that time passing before we got Tattletale's response.
There's some, I will say, there's one moment that I really like about it. Gru is really wounded, and the medics are working on him, and they are like redoing Taylor's work. Well, I guess they had to because it was torn open, but she thinks like, I was feeling guilty, waiting for the medics to tell me I'd done something wrong, but they didn't say anything, and that was almost worse. And then later, the doctor takes over for the medics, and the medics left with a nod to her. And then she's like, I nodded back, unsure of how else to respond. And what this sparked for me is like, this is a classic, like, being in Skitter's head is not at all what it's like to be around her. Because imagine you're in the ambulance. You're one of Coil's medics, right? You load in the really wounded supervillain. And here's this girl covered in bugs, standing there silently in her scary mask, watching your every move. You're probably terrified that if you mess something up, she's going to hurt you. And here she is in her head being like, oh
they're
no,
judging
they're
me.
judging me. And then on the way out, they're kind of like, okay, we're almost there. We did the handoff. And they're like, we cool? We cool, Skitter? And Skitter's like, what? Why are you nodding professionally at me? Oh, sure. Yeah, I don't know what else to do. And so I really liked imagining that scene from the point of view from the medics.
Yeah.
It's so different from what is going on with Taylor. One other thing I wanted to return to was the moment when Tattletale shoots Knight. I feel like
that was so intense.
Yeah, I don't know that... Well, I liked your analysis of it, but I sort of took something different from it, which was that when she's talking to Knight, maybe she was working up to a bid for Purity, but I feel like she was trying to find a way to manipulate Knight, right?
Yeah.
Like just the way that she does. And Knight initially is like, oh, interesting, you're talking to me, you know some stuff, that's curious. But then immediately decides, I don't care. That whatever you're doing isn't going to work on me. And turns to attack Taylor and try to, like, cut her throat. And to me, Lisa drawing her gun and shooting is much less like, okay, well, this is plan B. And a lot more like, oh, God, Taylor.
Don't kill Taylor, yeah.
Right, like, what can I do?
That's a good point.
And we get a beat of Taylor describing Tattletale as shocked.
Yeah.
Having just had to shoot someone.
Potentially
to death.
Because I do think that Tattletale vastly prefers getting out of situations through cleverness and words.
Yeah.
And like
as far
the
as
idea of resorting to her gun.
As far as Armsmaster knows, she's not a murderer.
True.
So this is...
We already have the two.
Yeah, this is a big, potentially...
Right.
Threshold for her to cross.
Right. Yeah, the fact that Knight can just undo any damage in like a split second.
That was such a bummer.
Oh my gosh.
Taylor was working so hard.
Lisa had basically killed her.
Yeah, and you noted when Gru's weak, he doesn't seem to be able to sustain the darkness. It's not something where like...
Right, it's not like Taylor's bugs, so she's just summoning them
he can just kind of like set it. His power doesn't seem to get stronger when he's hurt.
Not
it seems
set
to
and
get
forget,
weaker.
yeah. Imagine being Knight. You've just been like fatally shot.
Yeah.
And you can heal yourself at any moment, but you can't because someone's looking at you.
Yeah.
Like, they just need to stop looking, and I can survive. Like, that would be an amazing point of view to be in.
Yeah.
I hope we get a Knight interlude at some point, just because, like, the psychology of that sounds really fun.
Could be good.
We'll have to see. Apparently she's really boring, according to Lisa, but her power isn't, so... Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. You've predicted some things.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear the beginning of the next chapter?
Yeah.
The skeleton of a building loomed over...
Me.
Yeah.
Us.
One of a few words it could be.
Presumably they are finding new shelter.
Yeah.
Perhaps
I really
shelter
like
for
the old
them
loft.
and all of Bitch's dogs. Well, didn't Alex say that like the place that they were with the dogs was actually better than the place that they had? Like someone had said that like they'd found a better spot.
Yeah, and I was wrong. Bitch does apparently have multiple dog warehouses.
She does.
So,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out what this building is.
Maybe
next time
on Inchworm.